Right now, quietly, you are forgetting your own life. Not the big days, the ordinary ones. What you ate last Tuesday, the drive home yesterday, the conversation you had a month ago and swore you would never forget. Gone by the thousands, and you don't even feel them leave. And some part of you has always wished it worked the other way, that you could keep all of it, hold every day of your life in perfect focus, and never lose a single one. About 60 people alive right now got that wish. One of them can tell you this second exactly what she was doing on almost any date you could name. The weather, the meal, what she wore, how she felt. And she does not call it a gift. She calls it a torment she cannot switch off. So set aside for a moment the idea that a perfect memory would be a superpower. Because the small handful of humans who actually have one are quietly telling us something the rest of us never suspected. That forgetting, the thing you resent, the thing you are doing this very second, may be one of the most important things your brain does for you. The real question is not why you forget so much. It is what happens to a mind that can't. Start with your own memory, the normal kind. Try to picture what you were doing on a random afternoon 3 years ago, an ordinary Thursday, and you get a blank. Nothing. Your brain recorded that day and then, deliberately, let almost all of it dissolve. That is not a malfunction. Every night, your brain sorts through the flood of what happened to you and throws the overwhelming majority of it away, keeping only the fragments that matter. You are built to forget. For your whole life, you have assumed that is the weakness. What if it is the design? Here's what happens when that design is switched off. In the year 2000, a woman wrote to a memory laboratory with a strange complaint. She could not stop remembering. Give her any date from the previous few decades and she would instantly relive it. Not recall it, relive it. The day of the week, what she did, what was in the news, how she felt all at once. The neuroscientist James McGaugh at the University of California, Irvine, spent years testing her against old diaries and records, trying to catch her out. He couldn't. In 2006, he and his colleagues published her case and gave the condition a name, hyperthymesia. She was the first person in history formally documented as being unable to forget. In the paper, they called her simply AJ. Her real name is Jill Price. And the detail that unsettled McGaugh most was not how much she remembered. It was that she had no say in it. For you, a memory is something you reach for. For her, memory reaches for her. Every date drags its whole day up with it, uninvited, the good and the unbearable alike, as vivid as the moment it first happened. She described her mind as a split screen, the present on one side and the entire past playing endlessly on the other. Every day at once with no way to turn it off. It would be easy to file that under one strange woman. But then they found more. In 2012, a researcher named Aurora LePort, working with McGaugh at Irvine, ran the first real group study. Dozens of people who claim the same impossible ability put through the same relentless testing. 11 of them passed. And when the team slid those 11 brains into an MRI scanner, the ability turned out to have a shape. 9 separate structures in their brains were physically different from everyone else's. Regions tied to memory and habit, visibly, measurably altered. This was not a party trick, and not a memory technique anyone had trained. It was built into the architecture of the skull. And here's the part that should stop you. Hand those same 11 people an ordinary memory test, a list of words to memorize, a page of numbers, and they score like anyone else. Perfectly average. The whole gift is aimed at one single thing, the story of their own life, which opens a question that should bother you more than it first sounds. If a memory is that vivid, that physical, that permanent, replaying a day exactly as it happened, then it must be true. It must be a perfect recording, mustn't it? In 2013, someone decided to test exactly that, and the answer quietly dismantles what we all assume a memory even is. The someone was Lawrence Patihis, working alongside the world's leading expert on false memory, Elizabeth Loftus. They took people with this near-perfect autobiographical memory and ran them through the classic experiments that plant fake memories in ordinary minds, feeding them small, confident lies about events, suggesting details that never happened. And the people who never forget, they swallowed the false memories just as easily as everyone else. In some tests, more easily. Their flawless recall was, in the ways that count, every bit as editable, as inventable, as yours. Sit with what that means. Even a memory that feels like a perfect recording is not a recording at all. It is a reconstruction. rebuilt from fragments every single time you call it up, and quietly filled in with whatever seems right. The people who remember everything do not remember it accurately. They just remember it constantly and confidently, and they cannot tell the invented parts from the real ones any better than you can. Perfect memory is not the same thing as true memory. There is no clean recording of your life anywhere inside your skull, not even in the heads that were built to hold it. But the deepest problem with remembering everything is not that it might be false. It is what it does to the person carrying it. A century ago in Moscow, a young journalist walked into the lab of the neuropsychologist Alexander Luria. His name was Solomon Shereshevsky, and his memory had no floor and no ceiling. He could hear a list of 70 items once and repeat it back, perfectly years later. Luria studied him for 30 years and never found the edge of what he could hold. And Shereshevsky was miserable, because a mind that keeps everything cannot rise above anything. He could not read a poem. Every word detonated into a storm of images and sensations that buried the meaning. He struggled to recognize a face because each time he saw it, it looked slightly different. And to him, the differences screamed. He could barely follow a simple conversation. He was so buried in the debris of his own past that he could hardly live in the present at all. He spent years trying to teach himself to forget, writing memories down on paper and burning them, begging his own mind to let go. It wouldn't. This is the thing the 60 people who remember everything keep trying to tell us. Jill Price has said it as plainly as anyone can. Her memory is, in her own words, non-stop, uncontrollable, and totally exhausting. Every hurt she has ever felt is still fresh. Every embarrassment, every loss, every goodbye, waiting behind the right date, ready to play again at full volume. She cannot grieve and move on because for her, nothing moves on. She called herself a prisoner of her own memory. And now look back at your own forgetting, the thing you started out resenting, the blurred afternoons, the names you lose, the arguments that have gone soft and quiet with time. You are not failing to remember. Your brain is doing something for you, on purpose, every single day. It is letting go. It lets the pain fade so the wound can close. It blurs the details so you can find the meaning. It clears yesterday out of the way so there is room to stand here now in the only moment you ever actually get to live in. Forgetting is not the opposite of memory. It is the mercy that makes memory survivable. The people who cannot forget are not living more than you. In a way, they are living less, pinned to every version of themselves they have ever been, unable to set any of it down. You get to travel light. You get to let a bad day dissolve. You get to walk out of a room and leave most of it behind you, and that emptying out is not a leak in the system. It is the system. It is the thing that makes it possible to be surprised again, to heal, to fall in love, to begin anything at all. So come back to where we started. Right now, quietly, you are forgetting your own life. Yesterday is already dissolving. Most of this week will be gone by next month. And that is not the tragedy you were told it was. It is a tide going out, clearing the shore so you can walk it again tomorrow as if for the first time. You were never meant to keep all of it. You were meant to keep what matters and to let the ocean take the rest. The handful of people who remember everything would trade it, most of them, for the thing you have and never notice. The ability to lose a day, and so to begin the next one clean. So don't mourn what you're forgetting. It isn't being stolen from you. It is being cleared to make room for the life you're actually in.